#1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, welcome aboard. Time to rock and roll. Yes, sir. It's a beautiful Saturday. And it's a beautiful Saturday because, of course, we get a little Dolphins football, baby. Yeah. I love it. Welcome aboard. Hope you guys are well out there. Hope you're having some fun. I know you got to be in a good mood, right? I mean, we got Dolphins football. You got to be in an exceptional mood today, right? We get to see a little Tua action. We get to watch, I don't know, it depends, the offensive line. Hopefully they come through. Hopefully they play a lot better. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to watch today. That's it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful Saturday. We are, of course, rocking and rolling for the next about an hour. I think something like that. We'll be rocking, and we'll have Alan Poupar on with us around 10:15. So we'll get our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report. We'll get his thoughts on what to expect from this game. So we'll talk with one of our insiders. Of course, we will take your comments on the YouTube chat board. You can reach out to us by email, as always, at BigORadioShow@yahoo.com. That's BigORadioShow@yahoo.com. Twitter, of course, I've got the Twitter feed popped up here. So if you've got a question you want to get in, you can send it in also on the Twitter feed at Big O Show. I see Lee Michael Morrison already. He's on the chat board. He's on Twitter. He says it's game day, Big O. Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you. And Lee, thank you for the invite. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you, sir, out there. And of course, he reminds everybody, that's right, you got to smash that like button while you're there. So make sure you smash it, and the like button too, while you're watching or downloading the show, however it is that you're doing it locally. Because I know that Dolphins talk is going to dominate everything that we're going to do today for this short program. But and obviously we'll talk to Alan Poupar here at 10:15. Cubs, by the way, got walloped by the Marlins. They scored 2 touchdowns, 14-10. Would be nice for Tua to put together 2 touchdown drives, right? I don't even know how much he'll play. He'll probably play a couple of series, I would imagine, right? I don't think he's going to play that much, but I like the fact that he is playing, and we'll get into all of that. But congrats to the Marlins. They pound the Cubs 14-10. Aguilar with his 21st home run. De La Cruz had 4 RBIs because of that grand slam he had in the second inning. So good stuff there. That was fun to watch, explosive to watch last night. Today or tonight at 6:10 is the Battle of the Zacks. It'll be Davis versus Thompson. Davis for the Cubs. Thompson, obviously, for the Marlins. First pitch, 6:10 for that. The Heat lost their first game in the Summer League, 84-65 to the Jazz. The Strus wasn't loose, man. Went 4-15, 2 of 6 from three-point range, 14 points. And I don't know how it's pronounced, but anyways, he's 6 of 14. Didn't do well points-wise. Did end up with 16 points, but 6 of 14 is not a good clip. He had 11 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. So I got to give the kid something there. But KZ Okpala, man, KZ Okpala has shown absolutely nothing. 1 of 6 yesterday. They will play again today at 4:00 against the Hawks on ESPN2, actually. So if you have the Deuce, you'll be able to do that. So you've got Dolphins and Bears at 1:00. You've got Heat and Hawks at 4:00. You've got Cubs and Marlins at 6:10. And you've got Inter and New York City FC at 8:00. So really, you've got South Florida sports all day long. And, we got crappy weather anyways. It was already, I went outside. I had to take a couple of dogs out. And it's already kind of gloomy. It was raining a little bit in my neighborhood. So I don't know how it is wherever you're at in South Florida. But we've got that storm, obviously. We got Right Said Fred coming at us. And so that's not at us on the West Coast. It's going up the Gulf, but still we're going to get, obviously, the edges of that storm. So we'll get some what's it called? Some rain and some wind and all that stuff. So be safe out there, folks. Today's a great day to be home. Like I told you, you've got Miami sports all day long. It's a beautiful thing, actually. So right when the Dolphins start at 1 and they're done, you can start watching other South Florida sports all day long into the evening. I know I will be. So I know what I'm going to be doing today, watching a lot of South Florida sports. But obviously, it all starts. And listen, we've been waiting so long for the Dolphins, right? It's one of those things that we've been like, come on, let's get it done. Let's go. I want to get some Dolphins. I want some Dolphin football. I want to watch the boys. I want to watch Jalen Waddle. I want to watch Mike Gesicki. I want to watch Tua. I want to watch the O-line. I'm excited about the O-line. I am, because, look, it's a whole bunch of young guys. They've got to get better at it, but there's a bunch of talent, a bunch of potential. Have they put it all together? No, they haven't. Of course not. Austin Jackson has to develop consistency. Michael Dieter has to answer the question, can he be a starting center? Who's going to be the left guard? Is it going to be Eichenberg when he comes back from the shoulder injury? Does Solomon Kinley he has an opportunity now to get a stranglehold of that job, force Eichenberg to go battle Jesse Davis for the right tackle spot? All these things, Robert Hunt, everybody's got to develop some consistency. Everybody's got to get the experience. You know what I mean? And it would be so much easier, ladies and gentlemen, if any of these young guys were stepping into a line that was veteran laden and they were the only rookie on the line, because you can kind of hide him a little bit at times. You can kind of assist him because you've got all the veterans on the line and they can adjust a little bit. You know what I mean? But in this case, it's trial by fire for everybody. So it becomes that much harder to build an offensive line when everybody is learning. Okay, Jesse Davis is the only one right now on the line that has, experience. But yet, even saying that, he's not an established, experienced starter. He's a guy that's been a fill-in guy that you use all over the line. It's not like he's established himself like some kind of all-pro or Pro Bowl right guard, right tackle, left tackle, whatever. You know what I mean? But even that, so Jesse has to also adjust to everybody else that's on that line. But it's so much harder. It compounds the problem for the coach and for the players themselves because they really don't have somebody to lean on and ask questions and guide them. It's a lot different if you step onto the line and then all of a sudden you've got, three of the five guys have been there for 5, 7, 8, 9 years, and they have a chemistry, they have a knowledge of the offense, they're comfortable. That's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. And so it makes it, I want you to make sure that you look at that equation and throw that in there, because that's also something that's rare too in the NFL, that you're bringing along an entire offensive line from infancy to maturity. That's not easy. It's normally, like I told you, it's done piecemeal. And when it's done piecemeal, well, then it's a different challenge. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I'm glad that my man Alan Poupar is ready to go with the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report, the Miami Dolphins Insider Report, as the Miami Dolphins get ready to take on the Chicago Bears. We promised you that he would join us now. He is ready to go. I think he's awake and ready to go.
Barely.
Good morning. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you, Big O?
I cannot complain. Alan, I was talking about this, and it's not to make excuses, but when you bring along an offensive lineman, and let's say normally you're bringing him in, there's 3 of the guys that are already established or 4 guys that are established. And you can kind of bring that rookie along. You can kind of hide him at times. You can help him at times. But the challenge for the Miami Dolphins to bring along 5 new, young, rookie offensive linemen and teach them all, and then they all have to learn how to play the game at this level, learn the chemistry together, all of those kind of things. It's a much bigger task than I think people realize. Agree or disagree on that?
To a certain degree, yeah. There's something to be said about making the transition from college to the NFL, and it's not everybody, and actually it's the rare guy who makes a seamless transition and becomes a complete stud in the NFL right away after being a stud in college. So if we were looking at the Dolphin offensive line from last year with the 3 rookies they had, it wasn't a great offensive line. Let's not kid anybody, but it wasn't horrible, and it was a lot better than it was in 2019. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but the thing is, it's got to be better in 2021 if the Dolphins are going to go somewhere and the offense is going to become productive.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you brought in Eichenberg or Hunt or anybody, and then you already had Brandon Albert and Mike Pouncey, and, you had like 3 established cats, it'd be a little easier for that lineman to bring along. It'd be a little easier for the line to develop. But when you're developing 5 guys that have never seen this league and they're all learning at the same time, it's just, to me, I think about that, and that part of the equation becomes that much harder for the Miami Dolphins to develop the line. So it's probably going to take a little longer than normal because you have to develop everything from scratch, all 5 positions, which is crazy. And Jesse's the only one that has the kind of experience that you would say, okay, he has enough experience to really have the consistency at this level. The rest of the guys, they're still learning how to see everything they need to see in this league. They haven't seen all the coverages. They haven't seen all the guys. They don't know all the habits of the defenders in front of them, unlike a Mike Pouncey, who has watched film forever, and Brandon Albert, and knows the habits of many of the guys that they're facing. It's just everything about this becomes a little bit more of a challenge for the Dolphins than building your average offensive line. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But at the same time, you do need to see some progress to know that the guys are moving forward. Like if if Austin Jackson, Solomon Kindley, and Robert Hunt are at the same point this year as they were last year, then we got a problem.
Yes.
And from where I sit, and I've seen every single solitary practice of training camp, I think Robert Hunt's going to be a stud. I have really, really high hopes for him. Austin Jackson is still unproven to me, and Solomon Kindley is still unproven to me. Not to say that Robert Hunt is proven, but again, I see something special in Robert Hunt that I have yet to see in the other two guys, and there needs to be some growth in their second year. And the thing with Eichenberg, and I understand that you're making the point of the transition to the NFL, but every scout before the draft, and I spoke to a gentleman who covers Notre Dame for SI, and everybody was in agreement that Eichenberg probably was the most NFL ready of the offensive linemen in the 2021 draft. And that maybe the issue with him is that perhaps his ceiling wasn't as high, but in terms of being ready to play, he was the guy. Well, then early in camp, though, he talked to the media and he kind of like admitted that the transition from the left side at Notre Dame to the right side in the NFL was a bit tougher than he had anticipated, which is a little bit disappointing, but it's a fact of life. So maybe expectations perhaps should be tempered a little bit when it comes to him. But again, you're looking at a guy for whom the Dolphins gave up a 2022 third-round pick so they could move up in the second round 8 spots to get him. So maybe the bar is set higher for him because of the price the Dolphins paid, fair or not.
Yeah, and when you gave us that nugget last week in one of the Sports Grills Insider reports, it gave me an idea. You got a left-handed quarterback, so you really won't piss him off. I'm thinking maybe you move Jackson a right tackle and you say, hey, man, this is our left tackle anyways because you got a left-handed quarterback. You are the most important tackle. You put Eichenberg at his natural position. Jackson is considered a really good athlete, right? Maybe he can make the better transition, the quicker transition to right tackle. Eichenberg's naturally comfortable on the left side. Could that experiment ever happen?
I tell you right now, I would feel much more comfortable having Jesse Davis at right tackle than Austin Jackson.
Well, you're getting that today.
If we're being honest. No, correct. So I think the idea of moving Austin Jackson to the right side to allow Eichenberg to remain at left tackle, his position in college, I'm not sure how that really helps. I think that hurts your right tackle position. So I think they're going to stay the course for now.
Okay. All right. I just thought about that because I was going, man, one guy's natural and then the other guy's actually considered a pretty good athlete in Jackson. So maybe he can make the transition. And in the end, the most important tackle on this team now is the right tackle because that's Tua's blind side. So really that becomes the team's left tackle.
Yeah, it's a kind of de facto left tackle because you got a lefty quarterback. Yeah. And with that, I should acknowledge yesterday was International Left-Handers Day. So happy day to Tua. I'm also a lefty, so
me too.
There you go.
There we go.
I knew there was a reason I liked you.
There you go. You see, if you're not a lefty, you're not cool. That's that's just those are the facts. I'm sorry, folks.
Absolutely.
You were disappointed with the right hand. It's all about the left-handed. I'm telling you.
Everybody's born right-handed, but some of us grow out of it.
That's it. I'm a complete weirdo, by the way, because I do some things right-handed and I do some things left-handed. I'm not ambidextrous. I can't do them both ways. So it's weird. Like I will write with my left, but I will shoot with my right. I will write with my left, but I will eat with my right. It's really odd, dude. I'm just a weird person. That part. You
don't say.
Yes, exactly. All right. So were you surprised at all when the coach said we would see Tua today?
No, not at all.
Okay. He needs to work, right?
Yeah, he needs to work. I don't think
everybody needs to work. Everybody needs to work, right?
Correct. And Brian Flores is not really the guy who's going to go like, that guy's established. He's exactly where he needs to be. So he doesn't have to play in the preseason. Brian Flores, Xavier Howard probably is going to play in the preseason. Let's just put it that way. So I don't think that applies. And again, and this is not going to make some folks happy, but had Tua firmly established himself as undeniably on the road to franchise quarterback them the way Justin Herbert did, then I could see it. but Tua still has to get to that level. So to me, it would make zero sense to not have him play in the preseason.
I agree. I agree. I have no problem with him playing. Question is, how much does he play today? Is it just a couple series? Is it an entire quarter? What do you think they're going to do? What's your guess?
That's a great question. My guess is at least the first quarter. It wouldn't even surprise me if he played the entire first half. I think they need to establish, and again, they need to establish some rapport with him working with the offensive line. The wide receiver core is a whole different game because you don't have Parker, you don't have Wilson, you don't have Fuller. So this is not the same group that's going to be there in week one, although I should leave Fuller out of that equation because he's not playing that game anyway. But Parker and Wilson figured to be key guys in that week one. They're not going to be played today. But some sort of connection, chemistry, rhythm needs to be established with the frontline guys. And you need that maybe more than some other teams. So to me, anywhere between a quarter and the first half.
Look, I'm looking forward to it. All right, what else should Dolphins be looking at? What are you looking at that Dolphins should be looking at?
I'm not sure anything matters beyond the offense clicking. I mean, this is.
How about Noah? How about Noah?
Right. Well, see, I'm not picturing Noah playing necessarily a big role in 2021 because they have the X situation settled. And when the Dolphins use a fourth cornerback, because Justin Coleman is going to be the slot corner, and I really like what I've seen from him in practice. So you're going to have X and Byron Jones and Justin Coleman in the slot. When it's time to use a fourth cornerback, I'm not so sure it's not going to be Nick Needham, who can be solid in that road. And then if Noah shows enough progress, then maybe it's him. So I don't think he's crucial. I think he had some good weeks of practice from what I could tell in Chicago. Again, we're dealing with two fields, so it was tough to watch everything every single time. But at the times I looked over and he was on the field, he looked like he did a pretty solid job. So I think there's reason to hope that he can make a step forward. But again, I still don't necessarily see him playing a major role in 2021. And I think the defense is set up to be pretty solid. The key for the Dolphins this season, clearly by far, is going to be how well can the offense produce. So to me, that's the entire focus of this preseason game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. They've got they definitely on offense. There's a lot of answers. I mean, a lot of questions to be answered on the offensive line. On defense, you talked a little bit about it. Jaelan Phillips, do you think he actually even plays today? Because I know all the other guys that were out, those guys aren't going to end up playing today. That they haven't been practicing. Those guys aren't going to throw them out there in the middle of a game if they haven't been practicing. But Jaelan Phillips is kind of it's kind of teetering there because he did a little something on his way back here. Do you think he plays today?
Yeah, here's the thing. He was back for the practice on Wednesday and then didn't practice on Thursday. And the question is, did he have a setback? Is it load management where they want to be very careful to not aggravate the injury? That being said, I'd be surprised if he played. I mean, he's a guy who's missed like a decent chunk. He's missed about half of training camp so far. But so exactly how much are you going to get out of him in this first preseason game anyway? He's had one practice in the past like week and a half. So I'd be surprised if he played, to be honest with you.
Alan Poupart joins us twice a week for the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insiders Report. Out of curiosity, how much do we really know about Will Fuller's injury? Because here's a guy that has had his share of injuries, and you really want to see him out there on the field. You know, Jaelan has had a couple nicks, but the kids fought through it and stayed on the field. And today we hope to see him play at 1 o'clock. But Will Fuller is one of those guys, and he's in a contract year, basically, because he signed a 1-year deal, which I love the way, Chris Grier set that up because it left the carrot dangling in front of him. So he has more desperation than anybody else to get on the field. Let's not kid ourselves. But what do we know about his injury?
Well, we know it's day-to-day because that's what Brian Flores tells us about every single player who's hurt.
Dude, I'm day-to-day, bro. Come on.
No, exactly. It's a bit frustrating for us writers because he has taken the position he's not going to divulge any detail in terms of injuries. I'm told it's a hamstring deal. And again, Will Fuller is a proven guy. I don't think it's quite as important for him to get the training camp practice reps as other guys. The fact that he's also not playing week one, I think minimizes the importance of him getting back to practice. The one thing, though, is, again, this is a guy who's always been hurt in his career. So it's problematic that you start training camp and here we go again. There's an injury.
Right. Right.
So from that big picture standpoint, it's troubling that he's out. If we're looking strictly at 2021, not a big deal at this point yet.
Yeah. I just hope it's not something that lingers, because this is a guy that is so important to this team, because when you have those two guys on that field, it's going to absolutely create a terror. Albert Wilson was having a really good camp and then now got nicked up. How much does this set him back? And when they look at him, they go, yeah, we want him, but damn unreliable at the moment here. He got sidelined a little bit, and he was making obviously some waves with all the other injuries at that spot.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because to me, he looked like he was on the verge of like maybe clinching his roster spot. And now we're back to, is he a lock for the roster? If you want to read into things like this, when the Dolphins put out their first depth chart of 2021, which, mind you, they only do because they have to, because it's the start of the preseason, it was Wilson who was listed first on the depth chart at one of the three wide receiver spots. They don't necessarily identify them, but it was clear that it's the slot, and the guy behind them was Jalen Waddle. So if you put Wilson ahead of Waddle on the depth charts, certainly would seem to indicate he's a pretty safe bet that he indeed will make the 53-man roster. And with what he showed early in camp, yeah, he belongs on the 53. And another guy I will tell you who at the beginning of camp, I thought there's no way he's making the roster. And now I'm not so sure. It's Jakeem Grant. Because he actually, the thing with Jakeem Grant's always been his hands are unreliable. He's dropped one pass in camp. And it was a public practice. He dropped a pass in the back of the end zone that he should have had, but he's caught everything else. And he's made a lot of plays. And of course, he gives you, the dynamic guy as a returner, which keeps you from having to use Jalen Waddle as a returner if Grant's on the team, and saves him for the offense.
That's where I think he makes it, because he makes it as a returner. He doesn't make it as a wide receiver. He makes it as a returner because he's priceless.
But they don't have to keep him as a returner anymore, strictly as a returner anymore, because of Jalen Waddle, who can do that.
Off a foot injury, and he's already limped. You don't want to make that guy a full-time receiver and a returner. That would not be a smart move. At least in my eyes, that would not be a smart move in his rookie year. If we're talking, he's already been through the ringer for a couple years and he's responded in the body and everything's fine. But in his rookie year, I would not want to put that burden on him, Alan. I think that would be irresponsible on their part.
That's just a fair argument. It's a very fair argument, but I'm just saying the option is there. Whereas before, if it wasn't Jakeem Grant, there really was no dynamic returner on the roster. And now they have an option if they decide that they don't want to keep Jakeem strictly as a returner. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, what the hell happened to Lynn Bowden Jr. and Malcolm Perry and these kind of cats that were brought in to maybe also be returners, be Mr. Everythings, help out in different areas. They're multi-talented, multifaceted. We haven't seen jack from either guy, dude. What happened to those kids? It looks like they got swallowed up by quicksand.
Well, if I'm going to be honest with you, as far as Malcolm Perry is concerned, training camp began, and my thought was that I'll be shocked if he makes the 53.
Right.
I mean, he's a nice player, nice athlete, but there's nothing really special about him. Bowden's a different case, because what really caught my eye with him last year, he's in the open field, and it's like the guy's got eyes in the back of his head. I mean, the instincts in the open field were absolutely crazy good, but he's really done very little. I mean, he's hardly been noticeable in camp, and now to me, it's like right now he's on the outside looking in as far as the 53 is concerned. Is there trade value with him, considering he came into the league as a third-round pick? Maybe. That could be one way the Dolphins go. Dolphins have a surplus of wide receivers. They have more NFL caliber wide receivers than spots on the roster. So it would not surprise me in the least. In fact, I would almost expect it that they'll make a trade involving one of those guys, see what they can get. And at this point, again, Bowden's on the outside looking in. As far as a 53-man roster, he has done very, very little. That's a little bit surprising, to be honest.
All right, running back. I'm almost at a point. I love Myles Gaskin. I love what he did last year. I'm not telling you he's a stud back or anything like that, but when they do draft a stud back in the next year or two, which I think it'll be next year, him and Gaskin, I think, will make an absolute great 1-2 punch if they go out after a first, second round type running back next year. I think that's the future. But for now, Gaskin is the number one guy. I'm sure we'll see him a little bit. I don't need to see that much of him. It's after him now. How does everything break down after him? Who gets the bulk of the playing time today? And Jared Dokes. I imagine we're not going to see much of him in the first half, but I would imagine the second half of all these games, he's going to finally get an opportunity. I know he kind of had a nightmarish day the other day, which in Chicago, dropping a couple passes and stuff. So break down the backup running backs behind Myles Gaskin.
Well, I would start off by saying I'm not quite as certain as you are they're going to be drafting a running back in the first or second round anytime soon, because they had opportunities galore to do that the last two drafts and they didn't do it.
Wait a minute. I have a theory on that.
Go ahead.
I have a theory on that. Since most running backs are one contract guys, they've got to be really special to give them that second contract, right? Why are you going to draft a running back in the first, second, and third years of you building a team and building an offensive line? Because the youngster is going to take an absolute pounding. You don't have a quarterback to take pressure off of him. You don't have a great offensive line. He would take a beating the first couple of years. So you're probably better off getting by with backs that don't cost you a lot. They're serviceable. You develop your line, you develop your quarterback. When it's all done, year 4 now, year 5, that your team is set, you go draft your running back, and now you can milk them for the next 4 or 5 years on an offense that's already set, on offensive line that's already set, and he'll be better off suited to take off and have a career instead of these first 3 years that are going to be hell for any back that's behind this line. So I think they purposely have gone this path of using the lesser back to get through this phase of developing an offense instead of putting the kid back there and taking an absolute killing in the first 3 years.
I'll buy your argument to a certain degree, but the way you're talking about how long it's going to take for the offensive line to develop and become a quality unit is very, very troubling if I'm a Dolphins fan, because it's like, really, it's going to take that long? And
you just put them together in year 3 now is when you put them all together. Dieter's the only one that's been here 3 years. The other guys, this is their second year, and another guy it's his first year. So really the line has kind of come together what you plan on putting on those 5 this season. So if they can gel this season, I think by next year you then add that back, and then you're better off at that point. That's just me. I'm just spitting in the wind.
Okay, I'll buy it to a certain degree. I also think there's a philosophical notion here among the Dolphin brass that they can make do with good, solid running backs, and they don't have to spend a premium pick on one. That's
what it looks like. Actually, correct. What you're saying is what they're exercising right now. Correct. What I'm saying, we'll find out if they do it next year. Then I think I was right, actually, but we'll see.
Fair enough. So the backs this year, I will tell you one guy who really impressed me in Chicago and looked good, and to me cemented the fact that I already thought he was going to be the short yardage goal line guy, and that he cemented that fact with what he did in Chicago, and that's Malcolm Brown.
Okay.
But he's another guy who I don't think necessarily needs a lot of playing time in the preseason, because you know what he is. So I think you're going to see a heavy dosage of Savon Ahmed, Jordan Scarlett, Jared Dokes, some Patrick Laird also. And you mentioned Dokes. To me, what he's got to show, the kid's got to show he can catch a ball. I mean, holy smokes. It started, I mean, I don't pay a whole lot of.
And his highlights are filled with amazing catches, actually. Have you seen his highlights?
From Cincinnati, Cincinnati?
Yeah, from Cincinnati. His Cincinnati highlights are freaking amazing. There are some awesome catches that he has there. So you're like, okay, this guy can catch the ball. And then here he has been, poor kid, man. He's had a
Spoiler
rough
alert.
year.
Spoiler alert, he can't. And it started in the spring. I mean, I don't notice you don't pay a whole lot of credence and stuff like that, but I noticed every time they threw him the ball, he would like fight it and he would drop it, or even if he would catch it, it wasn't smooth. It was like he would bobble it. And then again in Chicago, drops the pass again. And
So what you're saying is he's making Jakeem Grant look sure-handed.
Pretty much, yeah. And the bad news for Jared Dokes is he's not nearly good enough runner. Not that he doesn't have running ability, but he's not good enough to overcome the fact that he can't catch a pass. So, yeah, I mean, I think his margin for error right now, if he's going to even make the 53, is he's got to catch everything thrown his way. Because I mean, Gaskin's a lock. Malcolm Brown's a lock. I think Savon Ahmed's a pretty good bet. And I think Patrick Laird's the type of guy who he doesn't look like much, but he does a lot of different things, plays on special teams, and might be in the NFL for 10 years without ever carrying more than 10 times in a season. So I don't think Dokes making the roster, even though he was a draft pick, is a guarantee, and he needs to start catching the ball.
Alan Poupart joins us twice a week here exclusively on the Big O Radio Show with the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. And Alan, when I was a beat guy every year, like you have for a much longer time now for the Miami Dolphins, every once in a while in camp, you saw a kid that from the first moment started to flash and every day did something. And you just said, whether we're putting on pads or not, that dude's an effing player. Is that Javon Holland? Because, you know, it's like when we're sitting there and Jimmy brings in some guy from the Portland Fire Dragons named Oronde Gadsden, and all of a sudden he's making every catch in the book. And the first catch he made was a one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. You remember that? And we're like, okay, we got to write that down. And then every day it was one of those, and it was like, okay, I don't care what you tell me, that guy's a player. Mark Dixon, oh, I don't care what you tell me, that guy's a player. Is that what's going on with Javon Holland, that you look at him and you say, player?
Well, you know I'm going to be partial to him considering he's Canadian, and so am I. So right away, I like the dude. But yeah, here's the ball seems to find him. And I asked Brian Flores about him.
Van Ginkel's that guy.
Oh,
right?
He's another guy. The dude's all over the place.
He flashed. Right. He flashed from the get-go is what I'm saying. This guy's doing the same thing.
No, practice on Thursday, like pass patted down at the line of scrimmage. He had a pressure on the quarterback. He had met a running back in the backfield. I mean, the dude's just doing nothing but making plays. Going back to Holland, yeah, the ball just seems to find him. And I asked Brian Flores on Thursday morning, is this an issue of like, does this guy just have, how much of it is just natural instincts? And Flo's response was to poo-poo it and basically saying along the lines of stop focusing on the big plays. Well, guess what? Give me a safety who can get 6-7 picks in a season, and you know, I'm going to be good with that. Obviously, you want him to have.
You got a Hall of Famer. You got a Hall of Famer that does that. If you're doing that every season, you're Hall of Fame, dude. You're headed for Canton. But how impressed have you been with him? Because again, that's a lot of that's the other thing that people don't realize. They're going to lay a lot of responsibility on that kid because he's going to end up being the quarterback of that secondary.
If he starts.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that it won't be Jason McCourty, who's your starting deep safety, playing alongside Eric Rowe, because I think there's something that about the Dolphins that I think they'd like to have some veteran leadership back there and a good communicator and all that. And Holland is a rookie. So if I were to guess right now, I'd say McCourty is going to be the starter at New England on September 12th, but Holland's going to play a lot. And this is a guy who played 2 seasons at Oregon, had 9 picks in those 2 seasons. So at some point, it's not an accident that he's always getting picks. And in practice so far in training camp, he's got 3 picks.
For me, he starts because ball hawks, you have to get on the field. You have guys that are playmakers. And have you seen the same for McCourty? That he's been around the ball the same way? That's what I'm saying. I think, Flo can downplay it all he wants, but they've got to be in their meeting rooms away from the guys, like high-fiving, slap silly, going crazy, going, oh, we hit on this guy. We hit on this guy's going to make a quick transition. Because you just talked about earlier, some guys will make that quick transition. It looks to me like he's that kid that makes the quick transition.
Yeah, but here's what I would tell you is you and I would put the ball hawking on the field in a heartbeat. Flores would put the guy who is going to prevent any sort of breakdown in communication where there's a guy left wide open in the back behind the secondary because guys weren't talking or weren't where they were supposed to be. I think he would value that more than a guy who's going to come up with 3 picks.
Special teams wise, returns, obviously Jakeem's the guy, but who else are they going to use? Will they try Jalen Waddle at all? Or is it because preseason, let's not put him out there and risk this? We know kind of what he can do. Because you talked about, some of you are all talking about trading Jakeem. So if that plan is in place, who's the one you're going to groom to take over? Because it doesn't make sense to put Waddle in there and carry the load full time. So who else will be experimented on today? And that's something that we should look forward to in today's game, that who else are they going to use in that return game outside of Jakeem?
Well, if I'm playing amateur detective, I think it might give us a clue that if they put Waddle back there to return punts and or kickoffs today, that might be some sort of indication that they are planning on using him during the regular season. Again, maybe not, but if I'm playing amateur detective, that would be a sign. The 2 guys I would look for, like on punt returns, I think Malcolm Perry would be your other guy who would be back there, and on kickoff return, it will be our aforementioned friend Noah Benogany, who did it a little bit last year as well.
Okay, that's punt return, kick return?
No, Igbenogany would be for kickoff returns, Malcolm Perry for punt returns.
Okay. Well, there's coming full circle. Here's where Malcolm Perry could actually do something and shock the world, right?
Yeah, he's got a ways to go, though. He's got a ways to go.
Yeah. I know. Hunter Long, I guess you told us that he was walking around without a brace and all that stuff. So I guess it's good news, right? I guess it's not as serious right now with Hunter Long.
Correct. Well, but you day to day, you just so we're clear on that.
We're all day to day.
No. Well, no, I'm relating to the Flores position on everything being.
I know.
No, and to me the worst case scenario right now because if it was season ending, the Dolphins would have put him on IR by now, which would have ended his season. They haven't done that, which is a good sign. Now it's possible that once they cut to 53, then they put him on IR, which sidelines him for 3 weeks, again, depending on the severity of the injury. But by all reports, it's not that serious, which is obviously good news. And then at some point, then the Dolphins are going to have to figure out what they're going to do at tight end because they have Mike Gesicki, Adam Shaheen, who's looked very, very good in camp, Durham Smythe, and one guy who has absolutely surprised the hell out of me as a receiver is Ethan Carter, who they signed as a free agent from the Bengals, who I have to be honest, I know my NFL rosters. I had never heard of the fella. And he comes in, and I did my research on him. He's a tight end H-back, special teams guy, mostly a blocker. And the dude's made a lot of plays in the passing game, and he's caught everything inside. And I'm like, yeah, that guy's a good receiver. Okay. So, and then when you add Hunter Long to the deal, that's 5. They're not keeping 5 tight ends.
No.
So something's going to have to give.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. Let's wrap it up with this. Do you get your question and our question finally answered? Who the hell is going to call plays? Right? I mean, today we should find out, right? Today the camera will be focused on whoever's carrying that headset up in the booth and making the calls, right? So I would imagine that we get, unless Flo is going to put them both with headsets sitting next to each other to kind of psych us out. And it's like, okay, we don't know who's calling or what, you know what I mean? But there's a good chance that we're going to find out finally who's the guy calling the plays, right?
Yeah, and I'm also not sure why it's a national secret. I mean, right. State secret. Not only that, George Godsey was asked, the assistant coaches spoke on Monday, and he was asked if he was going to be in the booth or on the field, and he wouldn't answer that.
I know.
Dude, really? Is that going to affect the strategy of the opponent?
Like, really? Exactly. What's the big deal, dude? Plus, it makes all the sense in the world that the passing guy is the guy that's going to call the plays when it's all said and done.
Well, not only that, he's done it before also, and
Right,
Studesville hasn't. So
Yes.
logically, it should be Gotze, but we don't know for sure. And it's possible, as you suggested, if they both have headsets and they both like pretend to be calling plays at the same time, maybe we'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what's the big secret? I just that one I totally understand. He doesn't want to give the injury information. He doesn't have to in the preseason. He's not required right now by NFL law to give the injury, the nature of the injury or anything like that. Not that they really do anyways, because look at Tom Brady. He was playing with a blown knee ligament the whole year and didn't tell anybody. And I'm sure Vegas is like, damn, these bastards. So, you know, it is what it is, but I just don't understand that. But I figured today we finally maybe find out who the hell is actually calling the plays. So we'll find out. Alan, as always,
they would tell you, Big O, though, it doesn't matter who's actually calling the plays. Everything is a collaborative effort. So,
yeah, I'm with you there. Alan Poupart joins us. Make sure that you follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And, of course, catch him twice a week here for the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. Sir, enjoy the game today. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see some game action. Been a while since we had a Dolphin preseason game.
I know. Thank the Lord we're getting some football and get to see the Dolphins now play. It should be a lot of fun, man. Looking forward to a good season. I think we're going to have a really good season. I think the boys are going to get to the playoffs. It's going to be fun. You're going to cover playoffs this year. There you go.
Would love nothing more.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You be good, my brother. Enjoy your weekend and stay dry.
You do likewise. Thanks, Big O.
All right, my brother. There you go with the Spose hat and everything. Always sporting the Spose hat. All right, 30 seconds. We continue.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
It's a beautiful thing. Welcome back. We are rocking and rolling here on a beautiful Saturday. We got Dolphins football. Man, I cannot wait to watch a little Dolphins football at 1 o'clock. It's a beautiful thing. Bromar says, Parker not playing, shocker. You don't need Parker to play, Bromar. Why would you want Devontae Parker playing today? Devontae Parker doesn't have to prove a damn thing. You just need him to get healthy and be healthy enough to start the season. That's it. He's going to make the team. He's one of the better receivers because when he's healthy, he can play. And so today is not one of those days. You want to see people that have something to prove at this point in time. Parker is not a guy that really has anything to prove at this point in time. You want all the other young guys on the field, or even maybe a veteran that hasn't contributed on this team but needs to get healthy or something like that, then I can see something along those lines. But it's not really important to see Devontae Parker today. That does nothing for me right now. I already know what Devontae Parker is. You know, he can play, and he's often injured. And so this year, what are you hoping for? About 12 games from him? You know, something like that. You can get decent production from him. But it's not like you're so loaded that you can get rid of him. You know, there's other questions also on the team. But seeing him in the first preseason game, that's not something that I'm frustrated about with Devontae Parker. Any news on Jalen Phillips? We talked about it earlier. I don't think he's going to play, but it's been an on and off thing where he practiced and then he doesn't practice and then he practices and he doesn't practice. So because he hasn't been practicing lately on a consistent basis, I would expect him to get held out today. But let's say they allow him to play today, it'll probably be very limited because it looks like they're bringing him along slowly from that injury. They're not trying to rush him back. The Delray Beach, Las Vegas connection. What up, Big O? Thank you, sir. And by the way, on our chat board, Lee Michael Morrison. was the first one in. Raging Dolphin Maniac. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if that's true, because maybe I think I refreshed it or something and I erased it. Let me see. No, Steve Chapman was first in at 7:45. Actually, he got in, so I got to give Chapman a little love there. So, because I refreshed it here, I turned my iPad on late, so I guess it didn't get it right from the beginning. Daniel Guzman in, Isais, Pipe Man Slim, waking up to Miami football in the West Coast. Gotta love it. There you go, Pipe Man Slim going Cardano. Yeah, baby. Cardano over $2. It's a beautiful thing. Cardano's blowing up. Been telling you about Cardano for a long time. I hope you guys took advantage. I hope you bought it even in the dip, because if you bought it in the dip, you got it at a really good price too. Super V says, good morning, Big O. I'm just looking for a professional execution on both sides of the ball for the Fins and minimum mistakes. Go Fins. I'm with you, man. I can't wait for 1 o'clock to roll around. It can't get here fast enough. Lisa Rose is in the house. Good morning, Lisa. C. Dola, Joseph Rodriguez, J.G. Long checking in from Malaysia. Raging Dolphin Maniac says Tua said he does everything except throw with his right hand. There you go. So he's a weirdo too, like me? I didn't know that. So he does some right-handed stuff? Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I do some things left-handed, some things right-handed, but I don't do them, ambidextrous. So whatever I do right-handed, I don't do left-handed. Whatever I do left-handed, I don't do right-handed. So I'm just weird. Like, I bat right-handed, but I actually write left-handed. It's weird, man. It's weird. But you know what? I've met a couple people like that in my lifetime. They're like me. I guess they just, you're self-taught and you just learn to do things, and then you learn to do them one way, and then you learn to do them another way. It's just weird like that. Guitar, I would have to play left-handed. That's how I'm comfortable with the guitar. I'm not comfortable with the guitar right-handed. Weird, dude. Weird. Let's see. Ed Marti, thank you, sir. I saw you reached out on Venmo, which, of course, you can give us some love on Venmo and Cash App. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Ed Marti says, don't want to compare Tua to Herbert. I think Tua will have a good year, but did you see Herbert knocking down those flying objects out of the air? Impressive. Yeah, no, I mean, Herbert is physically, when you draw up the quarterback that you would want, prototypical in the NFL, it would be Herbert. It would be Herbert. Herbert's knock was that he was an introvert. Herbert's knock was that he didn't have a lot of great passing games where he lifted the team and all that stuff. Every time he had a big game, you saw him running the ball more than passing the ball at times. And let me tell you, look, if last year is a sign of things to come from Justin Herbert, and he becomes that kind of a player, where offensively he's just a monster, with the arm and all that stuff, it's I hate to say this because I like the dude, but it's going to fall on Mario Cristobal. And people are going to go like, okay, well, Mario Cristobal did not really showcase the kid the way he's supposed to. And I'm sure Mario will have his own explanation for it or whatever. And so a lot of people were worried about between the ears for Justin Herbert. They heard he's kind of like a mama's boy, that he kind of is a whiner and that kind of stuff. And he's an introvert, and then he's not necessarily the most outgoing dude, and that you don't want a quarterback being an introvert and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't so much about the physical abilities. Everybody knew his physical abilities were through the roof. And we've seen that before, Jamarcus Russell, physical abilities through the roof. Achilles Smith, physical abilities through the roof. That doesn't mean that you're going to translate to being a great quarterback, because if you don't have it between the ears, if you don't have the character for it, if you don't have the leadership qualities for it, it's going to be a lot harder to be that guy. That's why Jeff George was not a leader of men. Ryan Leaf was not a leader of men. And Ryan Leaf was the guy that if you painted the ideal quarterback, and speaking of the Chargers, All right. They drafted that same guy, Justin Herbert, years ago, and his name was Ryan Leaf. Same dude. It's the exact same dude. Big strapper, great arm, can move around, all that. And yet, he was a mental midget. And he couldn't get it done. And he cracked. And that's what they were afraid of with Justin Herbert. And that's why there were question marks about Justin Herbert. And now we'll find out if those question marks were a bunch of BS and if the kid can get it done. 1 year doesn't make anything because you got to, continue to do it. But we'll see. And that's really what it was about. It wasn't anything physical. Everybody knew that physically the guy had everything. And again, that's not new. Lots of guys have come out of the league and physically they belong on the all runway team. And then when it tries to take off, it crash lands. Passing by, hitting the like, hello, switching to TV. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you, my man. I thank you very much. You think Flo will cut Shaheen for making a big deal about the shot? No, because Adam Shaheen's your second best tight end, bro. He's been a good pickup. I get it, the anti-vaxxer and all that stuff, but, Cole Beasley can play, right? Yeah. Dude, they keep people that commit crimes on teams in the NFL. Okay? So how are they not going to keep an anti-vaxxer? If that's his crime, it is what it is. Lots of people don't want to take the damn vaccine. They got some crazy-ass excuse for it or not. The only people that shouldn't take the vaccine are people that have health issues. Outside of that, I can't answer it for you, man. So, but you can't cut the guy because he's an anti-vaxxer. Can't hate the guy because he's an anti-vaxxer. It's America, bro. That's his choice. I disagree with it completely, but it's his choice. That's all. And now you got to live with it, and he's got to live with it. It is what it is, but he's your second best tight end. He's been a good pickup. I would not cut a guy until Hunter Long gets healthy and balls out. You cannot let go of Adam Shaheen. Now, if Hunter Long was healthy and balling out, I would tell you know what? All right, Smythe has done enough to be a third guy. Yeah, let's go. Cut him. That way you don't put the team at risk. I can see that. But right now, you need him badly. He's a good player, man. He's turned into a good player. Let's see. What else do we have here? How many tight ends do we carry? I think it's 4. I think they cut 4. They keep 4. Hunter's going to make the team. Hunter, Smythe, Shaheem, and Gesicki. I think that's the way they'll go. Disappointing to hear we continue to have problems on the offensive line. Perhaps we should have drafted a tackle from Oregon. Well, we'll see. I'm not ready to say that they've got the problems, that it's long-term or anything like that. I'm not overreacting, Ed. I'm not overreacting on anything when they are starting to play football now, so we could start to get a feel for what they have. So we got to watch a lot more before I'm panicking. And if Jalen Waddle becomes an absolute stud and he's your long-term guy, you need him just as badly as anything else. So you can't have it both ways either. Miami Sports Fanatic Show says, what would make me feel great about Tua is watching him march down the field and score a touchdown in the first series, no 3 and outs. I think that would make all of us feel good, my friend. Every one of us, okay? He also says, Sewell didn't fare well against Greg Rousseau. Again, rookie, I'm not going to overreact on anything like that. It's, this whole microwave society thing, man, we think it's all instant gratification. And if it doesn't happen right away, that's it. It's got to be a failure. And that just is the wrong attitude, ladies and gentlemen. Any running back they would have drafted would have done no better than Gaskin did last year, running for his life, being hit in the backfield constantly. That's my point, Michael. That's my point. That's why I don't believe they've drafted a running back high in this draft. Not a running back that's high, a drafted running back high. Anyway, that's why they haven't done it. because I think that they want to build everything and then plug the kid in, and then they can take off and enjoy his 4 or 5 years at a high level, and then they can decide second contract or we let him go, something along those lines. Because that's what's happened with the running back spot. You don't really want to tie yourself down to running backs for that long. You may just want to replace them. What else do we have here on the chat board? Raging says Godsy's calling plays. That's what I've expected from day one. But it's just funny to see how they've kept it top secret, which is not really, No one says poop fart. Okay, what's that all about? What's poop fart? Are we supposed to fart on the air or something? Is that what he wants? Oh, poop fart. I got you. Poop fart, poop fart. I got you. We've got the kindergarten comedian going on. I got you now. Poop fart. Okay. All right. I would have laughed at that in first grade. Do you think Preston Williams can make the team? Yeah, there's no doubt, but he's got to stay. You got to get him healthy. We've had this conversation. Get the kid healthy before you allow him to get back on the field. When he is 100% or 99, then get him out on the field and allow him to actually play his game. They rushed him back last year. They screwed it up last year. I don't call him injury prone. I think the Dolphins screwed up and they brought him back too soon last year, and that's why he got re-injured. I blame the Dolphins more for Preston Williams' setback than Preston Williams. And I will blame the Dolphins again if they don't allow him to stay healthy. Get healthy before you rush him back to the field. So I hope I'm pretty clear on that. All right. The second injury, it's on the Dolphins, not on Preston Williams. Kevin Yang says, hope Jesse Davis can anchor the right tackle spot. I hope so. I'm with you. Big Gary Allen says, me too, Big O. I actually write with my left hand. I bat with my right hand. I play tennis with my right, but I'm exactly like you. I'm not ambidextrous. Wow, aren't we weird, huh, Big Gary? Damn, dude. Weird. That's weird, bro. That is just like, what happened to us? It's like, how did we turn out that way? What the hell happened? Why didn't they teach us to do it all on one side? It's kind of odd. Zovega says, me too. I write with my right, but throw with my left. Wow. There you go. There's a few of us weirdos out there. I got to tell you. Lakers Lade Dope says, I want Watson if I drew him up. With or without the sexual exploitations? If you want Watson, but yeah, I want Watson too. I don't mind Watson as my quarterback, but I want the Watson that's not an idiot. I hope he learned his lesson. Because if he didn't, then he's really stupid. Because he was really stupid. And maybe, he might be a criminal because he might have assaulted these women. But if he's not a criminal, he's criminally stupid. Okay? If he's not a criminal, he's criminally stupid. Because what he did was, just nobody famous does that. You do that, you end up like him with lawsuits. Who the hell calls a bunch of strange women to go rub your thing? Stupid, man. You know what Watson should have done? Seriously, okay? I'm not condoning it or anything like that, but I'm just saying. I'm just going to say it right out. Why didn't he just call girls? Right? Just call professionals. That way it's all on the up and up. You want your penis rubbed? Go ahead, bro. That's what she gets paid to do. It's on the up and up, the money exchange. You should have your bodyguard there. You got plenty of cash. Have her sign even a waiver. Leave her phone. Whatever. I've thought about this. I've thought about these kind of things. Seriously. Come on. You just should have called pros, man. The pros aren't going to sue you because That's what they do for a living. Dumbass. It's like the other idiot, what's his name? For the Patriots, Robert Kraft. Bro, you're going to an Asian day spa to get your willy whacked? Seriously? That's where you're going to go to get your lizard choked. You're Robert Kraft. Rent the entire floor of a high-priced hotel, have a couple bodyguards, take care of the elevator, have a call girl come up who's a professional, pays. I've thought about these things. Pays, and you just get your wild side on. Everybody's happy. Everybody's paid. It's all professionals, and nobody gets sued, and nobody finds out about it. You ever sign a waiver, and that's it. It's over, bro. Nobody finds out about it. Your ass is covered. You pay her. You walk away. But the problem is you're a cheap bastard, Kraft, because that's going to cost you, whatever, 50 grand, which for him is like you and me, $5. But no, let me just go for $75 to an Asian day spa. Nobody will recognize me. You're Robert Kraft, you moron. You're Deshaun Watson, you idiot. These people, man. It's like, seriously, you got more money than God. You can set it up and get your horny ass off in a legal fashion, illegally, but legal in a way, instead of doing it this way where you end up in court and embarrassed. Seriously, man. I mean, when you've got the money, then use it the right way. So that way you don't get exploited. Herman says, block the comedian, Big O. Oh, the jersey? It's 13. There you go. It's Merino. It's an old Merino replica. So I figured today, little Dolphins, I'll whip out a classic Merino replica. It's just one of those things. Real logo on it. Where is it? There it is. There you go. The real logo, baby. You know me, man. I'm Miami through and through. Always will be, no matter what. Antonio says, Big O, looking forward to today's game. Hopefully the first team offensive line and defense look good today. I agree, my friend. I hope plenty of the boys look good all over the place. Let's see. Jamie says, fins up, Big O. I heard that Tua's naturally right-handed, but his dad pushed him to throw with his left at an early age to give him an edge. Okay. Had no idea. I don't even know how that gives you an edge. I don't know how being a right or a left-handed gives you an edge. How does that become an edge? I'm not exactly sure. I gotta ask around there on that one. Cody Gibbs, if Tua doesn't have a good year, would you want Aaron Rodgers? Cody, I didn't get married to my wife to think about divorce. I got married to my wife so I can stay with my wife, and we've been together for 30 years, thank the Lord. Knock on wood. And so I'm not that person that is thinking about going the exit door already when you haven't even tried, what's going on yet. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, if we ever get there. But I don't believe we're going to get there. So you and I are thinking completely. You and I don't think along the same lines. I don't think they'll need Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they'll need, the sex therapist, Deshaun Watson. I think Tua's going to be one hell of a player. I believe that in my heart of hearts, man. I believe Tua is going to be an absolute freaking monster. I think he's going to be a really crafty quarterback back there, and he's going to grow into the position. But I get it. In today's world, we wouldn't have been able to wait for Drew Brees. That's just the way it is. In today's world, Drew Brees they would have quit on him right away. and everybody wants instant gratification. And if it doesn't happen right away, and the part that I never understand is, why do we diss his year last year so badly? I thought Tua did a really good job last year, considering everything that went on. He didn't have a Pro Bowl caliber type wide receiver. He didn't have the receiving core that Justin Herbert had. He wasn't healthy in the offseason. There's so many things that the guy had a winning record. He threw more touchdowns than interceptions. He had some pretty cool performances against some pretty good teams last year. Was he great? No. But he's a rookie in a very difficult situation, a rookie environment, because it wasn't a veteran-laden team. Herbert stepped into a veteran-laden team. So to me, I really don't understand all the negativity around Tua. And that's where I'm kind of confused with all of this. I'm baffled by the doubt in Tua. I'm baffled by the hate for Tua. I'm baffled by all the negativity around Tua. I'm baffled that people have no faith in Tua and they're already looking at the next quarterback. In fact, he inspired me even more last year that he's the right guy, because that was his worst. That was the worst team worst Dolphin team he should be on, because it was so young and green. That should be the worst offensive line he's ever played behind, because it was loaded with a whole bunch of rookies that didn't know what the hell they're doing. This should be the worst he was at, because he's coming off a hip surgery. He didn't play football. And yet, having said all of that, the kid still won more than he lost. The kid still threw more touchdowns than interceptions. And yet, there's all this negativity about him. It's baffling, man. Call me a homer. Call me you know what? You want to call me a blind ass fan? Here you go. I'll play the blind ass fan alert.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
Go for it, man. Call me that. I guess I'm a blind ass fan, but I just really don't understand all of this. I don't. I can't really comprehend with it. It's tough for me. I have a completely different way of looking at this kid. And I think he's going to be crafty as hell back there. It's just a matter of him getting comfortable and adjusting to the game speed and everything else. Look, one of the things that you guys, somebody, brought up earlier, and we talked about this, that Herbert is like that prototypical quarterback. So yeah, is he 6'5", Tua? No, he's not. Does he have a cannon for an arm? No, he doesn't. But that doesn't mean that he can't play the game at this level. And so there have been plenty of guys that are shorter and that they don't have guns, so they have to kind of adjust to what this league is. And Russell Wilson has to do that, and Drew Brees had to do that, and Joe Montana had to do that. Certain guys have to adjust to what is going on in this league, the game speed. So their placement of the football, their accuracy, all those kind of things are incredibly important. And I think Tua, who is brutally honest, the other day was talking about how, I'm not tall enough that I don't go back there and I see guys, I have to throw to areas of where, guys are going to be. And that's the challenge for the shorter quarterbacks. The shorter quarterbacks, they can play the game, but it's a game that's based on timing. It's a game based on accuracy. It's a game based on ball placement, anticipation, all of those things, which makes it harder. But there's an adjustment period that comes with that. And that's what some people don't understand. Yeah, it's great to be built like Cam Newton. It's fantastic to be built like Justin Herbert and be as tall as Peyton Manning. It's awesome to have that kind of height and be able to throw over people and see everything. But when you're shorter, you're working the passing lanes. So you're seeing in between the guards and the tackles, in between the guards and the center. So there's a combination that goes with it. Your offensive line has to have a pattern that your quarterback will also follow that pattern, not just the blocking pattern, but the passing lanes. So all of this has to get timed out. And this just does not happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. I know we want everything to be answered overnight. I know we want everything to happen overnight, but that's just not the way it goes. It takes guys a little while to adjust to all of this kind of stuff. And Tua will adjust. He's incredibly smart, but we have to show more patience. Craig Sebring, thank you, sir, giving us a little love on the super chat. And thank you. And remember, you can always reach out to us, give us some love. Venmo or Cash App are our best ways because the entire donation goes to the show. On super chat, remember YouTube takes 30% of it, so that's why we tell you Cash App and Venmo if you can. Obviously, we appreciate it if you do it there on super chat. Either way, however you support it, and please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. It is very, very important that you smash the like button. Let's see what else do we have here. NFL Network will go with the Chicago Bears feed today. Screw the Bears. Herman Cueva says Reed didn't want to give Tua the ball at the end of the game. Remember? Okay. Can't wait for Tua to shut up all the haters. I have said it before. He will throw for 3,500 yards and 30 TDs and run 7. I like it. Cody Gibbs says the Chiefs game last year was the best game I've ever been to where we lost. It's a pretty good game. Good point about drafting a running back in the first round after you build up the team. That is what KC did. Yeah, they built up their team and then one got the LSU kid. I get what you're saying. You're right. But they did get rid of another guy that was beating on women. That's, we can't leave that part out. They already had a great back, but they had to get rid of him. Jamie says, issue with Tua is that most fans nowadays are fantasy fans, not football fans, so don't even watch the games, just stats. Jamie, dude, you know what? You saw the De La Rosa kid last night hit that grand slam. You just hit a grand slam on the chat board. Ray Grullon says, blind ass fan alert is for the pundits and non-informed fans, period, on Tua. What was Herbert's record again? Just saying. Exactly. Losing record. You are correct. Chuck Cooper, Doug Flutie, David Craig were short guys. Marino and Bledsoe were prototypical QBs. Yep. And David Craig learned how to play. He fumbled a lot, but he learned how to pass at this level. It's not the easiest thing. Russell Wilson is a short QB, but he's really good. Yes, he is. He's awesome. He's amazing. I think Tua is judged harshly because he's not the prototypical QB regarding size, speed, and arm strength. His intangibles, which are much harder to evaluate, are what makes him special. There you go. Tony Leggett says, you streaming the game live? No, Tony. You want me to get sued, bro? We're starting to build this thing up really nice, and now you want me to get sued and be broke for the rest of my life. No, sir. We're gonna just do a little talk here, and then we're gonna go and enjoy the game ourselves. I need 10 for 13, 150 yards and a touchdown from Tua today, says the Brooklyn Bully. Rosendo is in, says good morning. Physically 5 says Big O, I am happy I found the show. Well, thank you. I'm happy you're aboard. So please subscribe, smash the like button. It is so important that you guys smash the like button. It's so important that you share the link with folks. We're on every day, starting off at 10 a.m. Eastern every morning from 10 to 1 is the average when we're on. Wednesdays, we're on at 9:30. But most of the time it's at 10 a.m. And we usually end around 1. Sometimes we go a little over and we do a little, like today, I went over again. I was only going to do 10 to 11. And here I am, an hour and 22 minutes in. Fran Tarkenton was short. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not Tua's not the first guy to, not be 6'5" and be this incredible strapper. You know what I'm saying? It'll all work out, ladies and gentlemen. It will all work out. All right, we are going to wrap it up here on the show. We thank all of you out there, as always, for keeping it locked and, of course, for supporting the show. Again, we tell you over and over, podcasting, watching it on YouTube, smash the like button. It is incredibly important. Enjoy the day today. There's a lot of sports on for us South Florida sports fans, and it all starts off at 1 o'clock with the Miami Dolphins taking on the Chicago Bears. We'll be back on Monday morning. Omar Kelly, of course, one of our Dolphin insiders, will be joining us on Monday. So we'll recap everything that went on today, and we'll talk about the upcoming week for the Miami Dolphins, and obviously a slew of guests. Alan Poupar will join us throughout the week. We'll talk to Ira Winderman, of course, with our Heat basketball reports. We'll have a couple of those. Inside the Paint with Ira and Clay Ferraro on Wednesdays from 10 to 11 a.m. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the program, and hopefully we'll have some news for you this coming week on a new edition coming to the show that we've been working on. So lots of things going on. We love you all. We, of course, will see you on Monday. Same time, same place, same bat channel, and, of course, go Fins. There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal